Paul, just in relation to, I mean, you're a local resident, I'm a local resident.
Yeah.
What are your views on the fact that LCC in their planning application have said that presently this site is currently seeing 144 vehicles using it daily?
Well, I know for a fact, living here 12 years, Andy, that's completely untrue. I currently live 5-minute walk from Keelan, and I haven't seen, to be honest, one vehicle using that in the 12 years that I've been here. So it's completely untrue, that statement from them.
We obviously had a meeting with the developers at early stages of this, and we were assured that the developers were very, very cautious, that they didn't want to upset the local residents, wanted to work hand in hand with the local residents.
Yes.
How do you feel this is going now, with having seen this black and white documentation saying this is what's happening? We know that's not true. Saying that they currently have 2 members of staff on site, we know that's not true. What do you think this says about their thoughts towards us?
There's been no consultation or any sort of representation with local representation at all. We haven't spoken to anybody from the company. They haven't given us any assurances of how it's going to develop. And a lot of the residents are literally frightened and scared of how the area is going to go.
Good point there, frightened and scared.
Yeah.
You are aware, I'm sure, that recently there have been a couple of instances of people gaining access to the jetty. And there's a well-documented video on YouTube of a man going on GoPro, spending 15 minutes on site.
Yes.
Most recently, there was actually a reported instance to the police of 2 individuals on the jetty for 3 hours. And the police weren't able to gain access. Were you aware of this incident?
I wasn't aware of any of that at all. But that leads to the gigantic issue of, hundreds and thousands of gallons of highly inflammable petroleum on a site with absolutely no security.
Yeah.
It's terrifying to think of the consequences, that if anybody with any sort of agenda could get on there so easily and create such a cataclysmic accident, would be terrifying.
But it's very true. I mean, we always like to think of the worst case scenarios, and a lot of time we're beaten down for thinking of the worst case scenarios, but we've received video footage of a conversation between an individual and the security services for LCC, where they reported the incident 2 hours prior to this conversation. The police had turned up the site and were not actually able to gain access. Not that they were refused, but they couldn't gain access because there was not a key to open the gate. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, as you've rightly pointed out, you have to think about the worst case scenario. And in Northern Ireland, especially with the history we have to think of the worst case scenario for every agenda that goes forward. And the thoughts of anybody gaining access to such an area that could have such a cataclysmic explosion or event after that would be frankly unbelievable.
One of the cards that's been held in front of us is the vague promise that this could bring jobs to the area. And based on the fact that LCC have a vested interest in Belfast and own the terminal in Maydown,
Yes.
with them planning to bring in tankers that are 6 times the size of what's capable to be brought into either of these sites.
Yes.
Your views then on, could this bring jobs to the area, or are we looking more likely that they're going to redirect their current resources?
I personally feel they're going to redirect a resource from Belfast to Clonquoit. I don't believe it'll bring any new employment at all. And I don't think people have any idea of the scale and the impact of a tanker that's 140,000 tonnes sitting outside Whitehall would be, because it would totally take up the whole ice-scape of the area. It would totally destroy the feel of the area.
And then, of course, there's the environmental impact this could have.
Absolutely.
Again, worst case scenario.
We're very, very keen to point out the marine wildlife that we have and the purposes and the dolphins that are rightly cited, which will, I think, now disappear once this happens.
Yeah, it is truly frightening. But yeah, it was good talking to you. Thanks
Yes,
for the
thank you
time,
very
and
much.
we'll leave those thoughts with everybody. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.